What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Week 12 Final Read. This is our Thursday Best Bets show here on Forward Progress, presented by FanDuel. We're going to hit every single game using the hammer system. Triple hammer, 3-unit play. Double is 2, single is 1. The goal is simple. Well, there's 2 goals. We want to beat the Tuesday team, and hopefully we want to make you some money as well. Quick reminder, it is Thursday. Limits are a little bit higher. The market's sharp. A lot of info is baked into the prices. It's not an excuse. It's just context. We're going to try to work our way around all of that. Cards are loaded. Hammer's ready. Joining me today, Austin Mock from The Athletic, Suuma out of Germany. Guys, how's it going?
Going okay. Let's do this.
Should be going okay. We've been very excited there, Suuma, by the way. Really energetic, like the morale boost around here from your response is just through the roof. But listen, we've been having a good year, so we should celebrate a little bit every now and then. 56-43 guys for us as a complete team this season. Last week 5-4. Our ROI still at 6.1%, and obviously that's challenging to keep that up. Doing shows on Thursday, high limit picks, but as it stands so far, all three of us above 500 with our selections. Hopefully we can keep that moving forwards this upcoming week. And we're going to start in Kansas City as our leadoff game here, where the Kansas City Chiefs host the Indianapolis Colts. The Chiefs now 5-5. People really starting to wonder about the playoffs for them as they lose to Denver last week. Colts coming off of that bye. Kansas City -3.5, -04 is the price at FanDuel. Total in the game, 49.5. This one juiced to the over. Suuma, I'll start with you here. We did have a big piece of news in the last half an hour in this game, which was that Daniel Jones practiced in a limited capacity today with a calf injury when he was full yesterday. So that's one we got to keep an eye on. I mean, prior to that news, I was pretty strongly leaning Colts in this game.
Yes, me too. We will see about the Daniel Jones news. I kind of like this matchup for the Colts here. Yes, Daniel Jones, 9 turnover-worthy plays, 6 fumbles, several sacks over the past 2 weeks. Not really been on a heater, but I think that the Colts offense has a great rushing matchup. Chiefs defense has been better against the run, I will say that. But I think overall, I think that the Colts offense has a very decent matchup on the ground, and then they can really go from there. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes has drastic splits between zone coverage and man coverage. Yeah. He is by far the best passer in the game against zone coverage, but he drops significantly against man coverage. Enter the Colts, Sauce Gardner, first game back for Javarius Ward. Yeah. They arguably have the best cornerback, outside cornerback duo in the league right now, I would argue. Yes, the Chiefs are not the team that consistently feeds their outside wide receivers, but I think that the Colts have the ability to play man coverage, to do some stuff up front, and really condense the areas of the field that Mahomes will be able to attack. So I like the matchup for the Colts. I don't like the matchup for the Chiefs offense that much, leading 3.5 the Colts.
Yeah, I'm with you for a lot of the same reasons. And like Casey's offense simply, they haven't been explosive. They've gone weeks without hitting multiple deep shots. They continue to try to rely on these long, methodical drives, and they just frankly stall too often. And when you look at Indy's defenses here, top 5 preventing explosive throws outside the numbers. Kansas City's really struggled to separate there. And even now that they have their full wide receiving core, this is like the cornerback group that you want to go up against those guys. So I cannot bet it at this moment. I just want to be explicitly clear. I want to see, if you have nothing on this game, I would wait till Friday to make sure Daniel Jones is practicing, because the backup there is Riley Leonard. You want to see a full practice before you bet the Colts. But in my opinion, it's Colts or nothing here, Austin.
Yeah, I lean that way. I was looking at the Suuma sent me those splits on Mahomes, man versus zone yesterday. I started looking like, okay, is there a pattern? Did it get better after Rashee Rice came back? Because they were dealing with some injuries. No, they have issues against man coverage before and after the Rashee Rice return. So definitely concerned there. And that was like their ability to just constantly, like the last couple of years, they've struggled with the explosives basically since Tyreek Hill left. But they've been so good down and down, and they just absolutely like Mahomes. Like everybody looks at his EPA per dropback number, and it's like, well, their success rate number was like top 3, like last year, and they were just killing you down to down. That's not happening anymore. So that's the concern there. I can't get behind the Daniel Jones. I saw what this Colts offense was. I know it was Anthony Richardson. Riley Leonard might be different, but yeah, until we get more clarity there, kind of unbettable. I think. I think there's a pretty big drop off, even with Daniel Jones' play dropping considerably the last few weeks. They're still a pretty efficient offense, even with his poor play. So need a full practice out of him before I can get involved here.
Yeah, DXPS man in the chat says I'm on early Indy, was liking the movement until today's news. Hopefully turns out to be nothing. I think that's kind of where I'm at right now as well. Just kind of hope that it's nothing. Full practice tomorrow. But I do like the matchup. I think all three of us are kind of in agreement on this game. If you do like the analysis you hear on our Best Bet show or anything here on Forward Progress, just make sure you smash that like button down below. It's probably the single best way that you can help us out in growing this channel. So if you do enjoy the analysis, take 2 seconds, smash that like button, as we're going to move into another game here that has a lot of quarterback uncertainty as well. And this one kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, Joe Burrow was in his practice window, but it was expected that he probably would need a few weeks and that he was going to practice in a limited capacity this week. Instead, it was Wednesday full. It was Thursday full. Seems way more likely than not now, guys, that he is going to be back Sunday. We can talk about whether that's too early or whatever. Joe Flacco is also dealing with a throwing shoulder injury. Maybe that plays into the equation. I'm not quite sure, but that's what we know as of now. And because of that, the Bengals have been bet down, back below 7. Current market at FanDuel, Patriots -6.5, plus 100 on the road. Total 51.5, juice towards the under. I'll start with you on this one, Austin. I'll just give you my thoughts on how I want to. I think at some point Joe Burrow is going to get confirmed in this game, likely tomorrow. And the market's going to steam towards the Bengals on that news because he's an upgrade over Flacco. But it's his first game back from an injury that was supposed to keep him out 3 months. It's going to be against a team that is probably going to score at will in this game against their defense. I want the Pats. It's just like, what is the entry point for me? I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Yeah, I echo everything that you're saying. Like, I'm hoping that there's just a huge overreaction to him being confirmed tomorrow, and get a pretty sizable move down, hopefully below 6. I think we're headed that way. But yeah, it's the defense. Like this, even when Burrow's in, like this team's, I think people think like, oh, hey, they're going to be back to like Super Bowl contenders when Burrow gets back. Like, no, the defense is so bad. And then you throw like Trey Hendrickson status and everything. Like, they're horrific on that side of the ball. So like, even with a fully healthy offense, I don't think that this team is good. Like, I think they're just like average-ish, because I think everything you get on the offense is outweighed by how poor the defense is. So yeah, I'll be looking for, I was interested in the Patriots on like Monday, and it was just wait. And then you speed up this news. I don't know if it's the Flacco injury that's tied this up. I thought it was going to be like maybe Thanksgiving week was going to be the earliest. I was kind of looking to fade the Bengals when they brought him back anyway, because I think they're rushing him regardless. Now I think they're rushing them even more. So yeah, Pats are nothing for me. It's just when to click that button and side with the Pats.
Yeah, I bet some look ahead next week for Bengals against the Ravens, because I thought that was going to be the return, and I got out ahead of Mark. I did not anticipate this week. I think great points on the Bengals defense. I mean, they're just terrible. They are a very bad unit in terms of their missed tackle rate, which is a huge concern against New England because they've built this offense around speed right now as well. So I don't like that for Cincinnati. And, you know, we didn't even mention Jamar Chase being suspended for this game yet, which is another huge concern for that offense. So I want the Bengals money here, Suuma.
The defense of the Bengals, I mean, in the EPA era since 1999, the Bengals through 11 weeks have the worst defense by EPA per play and the third worst by success rate. No Trey Hendrickson. Like, I don't see how the defense is going to prevent the Pats from scoring. And then you have presumably a rusty Joe Burrow. Like, this timeline was supposed to 3 months, so December 14th would have been the target game. Not a great pass protection not a great offensive line. No Jamar Chase. You can put Christian Gonzalez on T. Higgins. And if you have a quarterback that's, I don't want to say he's getting rushed to play here, but I'm just not sure that he's 100%. And that kind of quarterback without Jamar Chase is going to chase the Pats offense in this one. When the Pats defense know that passes are coming, I will like the Pats if the number comes down.
All right. None of us using them as hammer plays because there's still the uncertainty there, and you could probably get a better price later in the week. At least I assume you can, but all three of us, I guess, lean Pats at this current point. One more game here before we move on, and that'll be the Steelers and the Bears. And this one's interesting because we still don't know who's playing quarterback for the Steelers in this game. Aaron Rodgers has the non-throwing hand wrist injury. He did practice in a limited capacity today. If he doesn't start, Mason Rudolph will be the starter. The Chicago Bears dealing with numerous injuries in the linebacking core, but they're looking like they're getting some upgrades in the secondary with players returning at corner. As it stands right now, Bears -2.5, -115 is the number at FanDuel. Total in the game, 44.5, juice towards the over at -120. Suuma, I'll start with you here. I have a little bit of optimism about the Bears with the secondary returning, but I don't know that it matters a whole lot against the Steelers, who kind of attack, your linebacking core a little bit more underneath. I'm really having a trouble finding some value in this game.
Me also, because is it Mason Rudolph? I don't think so. It seems like Aaron Rodgers is going to play. We have no clue how they're going to adjust their offense, because today he was only taking shotgun snaps. So maybe they have to change their offense a little bit. Maybe they get more predictable when they stay in shotgun exclusively. Just don't know. The Steelers defense has been getting better. Alex Highsmith looks still iffy to play this week, but they've gotten better against the run, better against the pass. I'm still super low on the Bears offense, especially their quarterback. I think that they are somehow sneaking by against either bad defenses or opposing quarterbacks like JJ McCarthy, which we were very wrong on last week, to be honest. But don't really know what to make of this game. I think that the Bears might still have a decent game on the ground, but I cannot really trust Caleb to pull the trigger here.
Yeah. Austin, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough when you don't know who the quarterback is exactly going to be. I don't think there's like a huge difference, but I've never been a huge Mason Rudolph fan. Not that Rodgers has really instilled, confidence in me from that offensive standpoint, but the linebacker thing will be interesting. Rodgers has been Darnell Washington. I know last week with the broken tackles. I don't know if I love backup linebackers having to tackle, 6'7", like 300 pounds. He's not listed anywhere near his real weight, but that's a matchup that I think like they could find some success in with those linebacker. And kind of your point, Rob, that the secondary getting healthy, I don't know if it's like, this isn't the game that's going to be like fully on display. So that's kind of the matchup for me that I'm interested in. But I think the Bears run game probably gives them an edge here where I'm not really trying to get involved. Definitely if you're not getting a 3 on Pittsburgh, I'm absolutely not. So wait and see here. But I guess I would tiny bit lean Bears at the current prices, but nothing for me.
I think I'm there too. Like, I think we all recognize that there's going to be a point to fade the Bears, right? Their EPA, like their turnover luck on defense is really inflating their EPA. And at some point that's going to fall out. But I do think that they have a really good head coach in Ben Johnson. I think about this matchup as well. He's more of a new school guy, offensive minded guy going up against Tomlin. It feels very old and outdated almost. I feel like there might be something hidden with the Bears that was kind of hidden with the Lions for all those years as well, where it's just coaching gives them like a little bit of a bump that we don't see on a weekly basis necessarily. But yeah, I mean, come the right spot, I want to fade Chicago. It's just Pittsburgh is a team I also have very little faith in and kind of want to be fading them as well. I think you guys would agree with me there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We'll move on in just a second. A reminder, it is Thursday, and FanDuel is making Week 12 even bigger with a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets tonight. That's right, $2 million. Here's how it works. It's simple. You opt in. You place an anytime touchdown bet on tonight's game, Texans-Bills, using your profit boost. If the player you pick scores either the first or last touchdown of the game, you earn a share of $2 million in bonus bets, $1 million for each touchdown. I'm just looking at FanDuel prices in front of me right now. They have the best price in market for Josh Palmer. Gabe Davis, wow, throwback there as well. Best price in market there. So if you want to play one of touchdown scores, maybe those are good options for you. It's one more reason to bet the NFL with FanDuel. Whether you've got a feeling about the opening drive or you're banking on a clutch finish, now is the time to get in the game. Visit FanDuel.com/forward-progress. Download the app today and get started. That's FanDuel.com/forward-progress. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation of Kansas Star Casino. 19 plus in Ontario. 18 plus in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool is split equally amongst all participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. They expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Or call Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. All right. We started with a great run of games. And now we're getting into maybe not the greatest run of games. Could be understatement of the millennium. Let's start with Baltimore hosting the New York Jets. Ravens, still some question marks around that team, I would say, after barely scraping by against the Browns last week in a game where Shadur Sanders was very bad. They returned home. Ravens laying 13.5, minus 114 right now to the Jets. Total is 44.5 in this one. You know, Suuma, I still have concerns about the Ravens. They get Marlon Humphrey back, looks like this week. Decent for their secondary. They're much better than the Jets overall. But when you have Lamar limited in his scrambling, which has been the case in recent weeks, I just feel like I don't want to lay these types of numbers with that team. And if anything, it almost makes me want to take the Jets. I haven't clicked the Jets at any point this week, but I'm pretty close there.
Yep, agree. I think that the decline in Lamar rushes really takes a small dimension off of that offense. Also because their run game is not great this season. And I think everything plays together a little bit there. Rashad Bateman, he's not a special receiver, but there's another element that's missing in this offense. Nuke Hopkins is really 33 years old, and you can see that. And this is not a serious argument, but this game gives me some Tampa Bay Jets vibes from week 3, where I would not be surprised if like the Ravens have a decent lead at some point, but then take a foot off and Tyrod Taylor somehow gets a backdoor cover. So I would be having a hard time laying that number with the Ravens, to be honest. Small lean towards the Jets.
Yeah, like it should definitely be noted. The Jets are a very bad football team as well. Yep. Like you look at the wide receiving core, and with Garrett Wilson and Josh Reynolds on IR, they brought in AD Mitchell. They can't seem to catch the ball. John Mechie, Isaiah Williams, like these aren't household names. They've traded away a lot of players on defense. It's a shell of the team that it was. But I like Tyrod more than Justin Fields, Austin. I at least think he gives you some semblance of a passing game. And you know, that's maybe like a little hidden upgrade there as well. It's just, it's really hard to actually load that up in the sports book. Like click the Jets plus 13.5, type in a bet amount, and then actually click submit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big issues here for me is even I agree that Tyrod is a upgrade, but it's still not going to be a good offense, right? It's not like, oh, hey, this is going to get you out of the cellar of the NFL. So that's concerning. Lamar thing is big, though. I agree. 13.5 seems like a lot. Lamar has not rushing for first downs. Like that's one of the big things. Like he's not scrambling and saving, he's like the first down thing, extending drives. Since he's been back, I think he's rushed for 5 first downs. To put that in perspective, he rushed for 5 first downs on 6 attempts against the Bills in week 1. Just to put in perspective of how much, I think to Suma's point, like how much that does for their offense. And that's not even before you get into the run game. So it's one of those games where like, can Tyrod, like it feels like 2 minutes left. Can Tyrod get this from like 17-point game? Can get it to 10? And it's painful because like, it's just, you know that it's not a good offense, but with the issues of Baltimore's offense and the limited of what we think that he's limited, Lamar, 13.5 is just too many. But I can't hit submit. I'm not rushing to bet that. And honestly, if it gets wiped away, I'm not going to be upset. So it's one of those things as well.
If you break down, if you take Lamar's career and break it into like 4-game chunks, which again, I get it, a little bit of an the only point I'm trying to illustrate here by picking an arbitrary endpoint is that his ADOT is like supremely low at this point. Since coming back from injury, this is his lowest average depth of target over 4 games in his entire career. So they're not really throwing downfield anymore. And you kind of want those explosive plays when you're a 13.5-point favorite in the game. I'm not saying that there's not any other path to success, but even their explosive runs are down quite a bit because teams don't have to worry about Lamar all that much. And they play on Thanksgiving on Thursday. Like I'm not saying it's a look ahead spot, but they have to turn around and play again in 4 days after the game, right? It's definitely a spot where you don't want Lamar doing anything that's going to aggravate any sort of injury. And maybe by end of week I'll get there. I just right now I see a lot of good points, but then I think it's the Jets. Just like I look at the next game and I see a big number and I think it's the Titans. The Titans at home to the Seahawks. If you told me this spread at the beginning of the year, like I would have fell off my chair. If someone said it's going to be week 12, Seattle's going to be laying 13.5 on the road at Tennessee, I would not have believed you, but that's where we are right now. Total in the game at FanDuel, 40.5. Austin, the Titans are dreadful, and I actually think that the Seahawks laying 13.5 may be the right side in this game.
Yeah, when you have an elite defense, like it's like if Houston had a offense that was manageable. Like it's just what is a bad bottom dweller offense going to be able to do against an elite defense? Like we just watched the Seahawks suffocate the Rams all last week. I know you can argue that like, oh, hey, the Rams they were leading, the turnovers made them be conservative, whatever. But this has been all years. The Seahawks have just been dominant, and they don't have to blitz to generate pressure. The Titans and Cam Ward, they've struggled with pressure. They've struggled with taking sacks. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the number that they have to get to make me feel comfortable for them to score, because I think Seattle is going to be able to put up points in this game as well. But yeah, I don't see many paths. When betting these bad teams, like same thing with the Jets, like what's the path to success to score? Because I don't want to sit here and be like, all right, let's score 3 points and still cover. That's very unlikely, right? I don't know what the path for Tennessee to score in this game is. So yeah, I think the price is. It's hard for me to get to 13, but I don't know if I'm way less interested in this than the Jets and Ravens game. Like that's the difference here.
Yeah, I think for me, I could see potentially some disruption by the Titans D-line. You look at where Seattle is missing players right now. It's the interior of their O-line. That's like the only strength of the Titans whatsoever, assuming Jeffrey Simmons ends up playing in the game again, Tavondre Sweat being their nose tackle as well. They could cause some problems there. But at the end of the day, how does this team score points? Like when you look at the way the Titans cover games this year, right? Last week, I mean, the Texans with Davis Mills are beating them by double digits on the road in the fourth quarter, right? Legacy drive from Cam Ward. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it. But like, I don't want to rely on those regularly. The Chargers game was a joke. Defensive and special teams touchdown for them, and they still barely covered. Like they're just horrendous. There's such a big gap between these two teams that I just don't see the scenarios where the Tennessee offense can have success unless it's when the Seahawks are just up by so much that they're playing so soft late in the game.
I bet the Seahawks, and I echo everything that you guys said. I don't see how the Titans score, to be honest. Mason Kinsey and Van Jefferson are going to be two of their top 3 wide receivers against, let's call it a top 3 defense in the league that is going to harass that Cam Ward pocket like all day long. And I also think that we maybe did not see in a long time how bad the Titans passing defense is, because they did not play too many good offenses recently. They gave up, 40 plus against the Colts twice, 31 against the Patriots. The Chargers moved the ball on them even after Joe Alt went out in that game. The Raiders scored 20 points on them. The Raiders.
Suuma, I just looked up Mason Kinsey, who would be like their third receiver this week. He's 27, undrafted, out of Austin. I don't know if you know where this is, out of Berry College.
Ooh, I don't know. I know Berry University's in Miami, but they don't have football. So
Berry College. I've never seen a player. Mount Berry, Georgia is where it's at. So that's where he went to school. Like, that's the state of the receiving core right now against this defense. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we've aligned on a lot of stuff, but no hammer picks yet so far on the show yet today. Keep it moving along here. Again, another big spread. This is where we're going to start to get into some picks, both on side and total, I believe here. We got the Lions hosting the Giants. The Giants, we still don't know who's going to start at quarterback yet for them this week. Has not been announced. Obviously, Jackson Dart missed last week with the concussion. He's going to have to clear concussion protocol to play in this game. Jameis Winston is the backup there and, kept the Giants in the game last week at home to the Green Bay Packers. As it stands right now at FanDuel, Lions are 10.5-point home favorites, minus 102. Total 49.5. This one slightly juiced towards the over. Austin, I'll throw it to you here first because I know you have a hammer pick and you're going with one of the sides.
Yeah, I was talking earlier about the uncertainty quarterback keeping me off of it, but I don't think I'm worried in this one. I am putting a single hammer, so smaller play, so I reduce some risk, I guess. But on the Lions here, minus 10.5, minus 102. If you can't stop the run against the Lions and you can put Jared Goff in a dome, we saw last week in a win game how that went. I don't know how you stop the offense. Like, this offense, when they run the ball, you're going to get explosives from Jahmyr Gibbs, explosives in the run game. It's going to open up everything else for them. I know the Giants D-line played decent last week. I think it was probably Dexter Lawrence's best game of the year, but it's still, I don't know. I just think this is a different Lions team when they're at home in the dome, and you're going to give me a significant, the Giants can't stop the run. I don't know how they stop him. Then on the flip side, with the uncertainty, I think Jameis Winston, he was all right last week. I said it to you guys last week that I think he still stinks, but he's just a more fun version of a bad quarterback. So there might be some risk. He will push the ball downfield and stuff. So that is a concern, but the interceptions didn't really come last week, and maybe they will this week. So I think there's a huge advantage on both sides. And if Jackson Dart plays, I don't love him coming off a concussion, and he hasn't been in the in practice and dealing with those reps and everything. So maybe there's a little bit of some rust there. So yeah, single hammer on the Lions here. If you're not stopping the run, I don't think you're. I think the Lions have huge point total. Potential in this game. So I'm happy laying it minus 10.5, minus 102.
All right. I'm going to use my triple hammer on the over in this game. Giants, Detroit, over 49.5, minus 115. I think everything that you said, Austin, absolutely applies here. And it's the starting point of my handicap, which is if the Lions can run the ball on you, they will score a massive amount of points. And especially at home, they'll play with some tempo. They will get Gibbs into space against a linebacking unit that's been decimated all year, a front seven that is entirely hurt. I mean, the defense is one of the worst in the NFL right now, personnel-wise. The Lions are going to score. That's what I'm most confident in this game, is the Lions scoring a lot of points. With that said, I see many scenarios where the Giants could be, put up some points in a trailing game state. And both these quarterbacks, in my opinion, give you a lot of variance in terms of like turnovers on their own end of the field as well in those types of trailing game states. We've seen Jameis be willing to throw into tight windows. Jackson Dart, I mean, same type of situation. So I think this number has to start with the 5. And I made this game like just a shade over 51 and a half-ish. So I'm comfortable going triple hammer here on Giants and Lions over. I'm matching TA from the Tuesday show this week, Suuma.
38-17 Lions. Who says no?
I agree. I mean, I saw in the chat, Colt said Lions by 41. As long as it's not 41-0 or 44-3, that would be very, very bad for me. But I'll take any other Lions by 41 in this game. I see 790 watching right now across YouTube and Twitter. If you are on Twitter, we always have a conversation going over here on YouTube, so you can hop into the YouTube if you want to chat with the rest of the crew. Ekshesh always giving his state of mind every single week, his point of view on each of these games. Ecolt, the XPS Man, Cottage. Appreciate you guys joining. And if you are here in the YouTube, please smash that like button as we move through the rest of the games here. I think this is our final one in the early window, which is the Packers hosting the Vikings in an NFC North matchup. I think going into the year, like this would have been a really, really, really interesting game. I'm not saying it isn't right now, but both of these teams kind of coming in here with a lot of question marks. I would say Green Bay's been in a pretty bad run of form lately. The Vikings, since getting JJ McCarthy back, I mean, last week his accuracy was on par with one of the worst games I've ever seen. Just continuously sailing balls over his receivers' heads. Did not look comfortable. As it stands now, Packers -6.5, -110 at Lambeau. 41.5 is the total, juiced towards the under. Suuma, I'll go to you here first. What are you making of Packers and Vikings?
I like the Packers. I will admit I was completely wrong on JJ McCarthy. I thought he played a bunch of tough teams, so to speak, and then against the Bears at home, that would be the perfect get-right game. But I have to admit, he's probably not going to be an average quarterback, at least this season. He has way too many issues. Talked to Austin today. Austin also said that there are issues that he probably might not get fixed within a week. And then going on the road against this Packers defense, which has not been that elite unit, but I think they can really heat you up in the pocket. And I just don't believe in this Vikings offense right now. I just am having a hard time seeing them putting up points. But what I like about this matchup is the other side, to be honest. The Vikings defense, since week 7, rank bottom 5 in EPA per dropback against the pass. On the season, they are below average in most of the metrics. What do? They blitz a lot. They play a lot of too high shells. And they have really struggled against under center play action in recent weeks. What do the Packers do best? 0.41 EPA per dropback on under center play action with a 56% success rate, top 5 numbers in the league. Jordan Love, 0.42 EPA per dropback against blitz with a also mid-50 success rate. And they're also a top 8 or borderline top 8 passing offense against cover 2 high shells. So everything that the Vikings want to do on defense, the Packers are very good on offense against that. Also, Vikings are giving up lots of big plays through the air recently, and the Packers passing game is a unit that can create big plays. So I like the offensive matchup. I don't think this is going to be high scoring, but I think this might be a game that plays out like where the Packers score some points early, get into a rhythm, get into a lead, and then it's getting incrementally harder for JJ McCarthy when you have to go pass heavy in the second half. And I don't know, I can see typical scores of 24-14. I'm looking at something like this. So just not believing in the Vikings offense to score, but I can also see the Packers offense at some point reaching a limit where they go more into a prevent mode.
Single hammer for Suuma on the Packers -6.5 in this game. And Austin, you agree with him as well.
Yeah, I'm going to use it for my double hammer. The McCarthy thing is interesting, right? Obviously, I thought he was like developing the yips in the middle of that game last week. I felt bad because it was like the worry that I have with the Vikings. I think I said this last. The guys are open, but to compound the problems is they had 6 drops last week. McCarthy has the highest drop rate amongst wide receivers this year at almost 15%. Like they had 6 drops last week. He would have been 22 of 32 with all those misses. Like if you think about it that way, it's like, hey, the potential's there, but it's mechanical. I've seen a lot of people breaking it down, and his feet are messed up. His arm angle, definitely throwing to his left is a concern. That was a concern coming out of college as well. So I don't, like to Suma's point earlier, I don't think that's fixed in a week. And you're going to tell me that like Micah Parsons is going to be lining up every which way and all these issues. The Vikings have had a lot of pre-snap issues as well, whether that's McCarthy, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't think the ceiling for their offense right now is quite there. This will be the game that they have no drops and McCarthy hits some seeds, I'm sure. But yeah, I think that the not even getting in onto the Green Bay side and their advantages, I just don't think the Vikings offense right now is in a state to keep close against teams that I think are above average. We saw that with the Bears. Granted, they almost won, but that performance was pretty poor. This is a step up in class from last week.
Austin and Suuma agreed last week on the Vikings with JJ McCarthy, and they agree this week on the Packers against JJ McCarthy. What could go wrong?
It's career game incoming.
I looked at the schedule next week. They're at Seattle next week, so I could see potentially maybe another agreement there, depending on what the line is in the game. We'll see. I personally, the only lead I had in this game was towards the under. I am kind of tempted because the market is now like 41.5. You lose out if it does go to 41 everywhere. I'm kind of having the same issues as you, Austin, where I look at the Vikings offense last week. It's not like they didn't have opportunity. He just didn't make the throws. I don't really know what to make of that. So ultimately, haven't done anything with this game as of yet, but my strongest opinion would be on the under. Now, with football rolling and hoops back, hockey back, this is the exact time of year that I lean on BetStamp Pro the most. I'm in prop markets every single day now, and Pro is what I use in real time to see the price quickly. It pulls numbers from 150 plus sports books, exchanges, all sorts of outs, spits out a true line in seconds, and lets you spot an edge and scale it up before the market snaps into place. If you're serious about betting props, this just makes your process cleaner and faster. I wouldn't recommend it to you if I didn't trust in it myself and use it on a daily basis. So if you want to check out the product, it's not for everyone, but if you do, go to betstamp.com/hammer. You can scan the QR code on screen as well to apply for a demo. Spots are very limited during the season. As soon as one opens up, they're hard to come by. So if you do want to check in on it, make sure you do check out that demo, talk with the team, because this is not a product that we can just mass market to everyone. There would be no edges to be found anymore. So use that QR code, betstamp.com/hammer, if you do want to take a shot at the product. All right. Late window. Might as well start it off with Raiders and Browns. Why not? The game that everyone is talking about this week for many different reasons. But you look at this game, it's been all Raiders money since open. FanDuel up to 3.5 minus 118. Total 36.5. Incredibly low for an indoor game at this point. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's very, very challenging for me to price this game. I have very little confidence in how to do so. We watched Shedeur Sanders last week, 4 of 16. It didn't look pretty whatsoever. But I find myself thinking about the state of this Raiders offensive line, Suuma, and being like, can I actually trust these guys to score enough points, even against what could be a horrendous quarterback? And I've kind of just settled on, I don't really think I'm going to, there's nothing, in my opinion, to do at this number. I guess maybe there's some value could be in the under, but I can't even pull the trigger on a number that low, Suuma.
For me, the only remaining slight value is still in the under, because I can't envision a game where either offense is going to move the ball past midfield. But I will say what scares me, would you be surprised if we saw like, I don't know, 12 sacks, 5 strip sack fumbles, 3 interceptions, and we are going to get like short fields, 1 or 2 return touchdowns? This might be one of those games where you feel very good about the under, and then you get all the funky shit happen where Geno Smith fumbles the ball on like the 4th Myles Garrett strip sack in the second quarter, and game starts at the 11-yard line. Quinton Judkins runs it home. So I could only envision like some stuff of this happen, but I cannot see how either offense moves the ball. Like, this is such a bad matchup for Geno Smith and this Raiders O-line against a strong Browns defense that, I mean, like every single play, it's going to be like a tackle for loss, or Geno Smith is going to get hit in the pocket. I just cannot see either team doing anything offensively.
Yeah, Austin, I know a lot of people talk about the home road splits for Cleveland's defense, which are pretty drastic if you do look at them over an extended period of time. But with that said, I just can't get over like the matchup advantage in this game with their D-line against what the Raiders are currently rolling out on their O-line. And you look at how the O-line struggled to hold up against Dallas last week. I think you're going to see a lot of similar scenarios this week, unfortunately. That's my biggest hesitation. Otherwise, the Raiders could probably be a click.
Yeah, and I would like my numbers slightly lean towards Cleveland because of the matchup on defense. So the issue here is like we have no data on Shedeur, and he was like, I think everybody in the draft community and everything thought he was the more talented quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. Yep. Not getting into all the rumors that have been about him, but even if he's good, the Browns rank like 32nd in every passing metric this year. Like every single one. Drop back, versus pressure, without pressure, against the blitz, against no blitz. Like it doesn't matter. And then we saw Flacco go to, and obviously better personnel in Cincinnati, but like he was serviceable like right away. And so I just, even if he's good, like I don't think it matters here. But the issue is I think there could be the scenario where the Browns defense just like the Raiders never move the ball. And like for me in that scenario, like getting 4 is kind of nice. So not something I'm getting too involved with, just because I like my Sundays a little bit better than sweating Browns and Raiders. I sweated the Browns last week, so I enjoyed that. But did joke with you guys before the show that I think exact score 0-0 might be the best chance of that ever happening might be today or on Sunday with this game.
Yeah, we were looking before the show. We couldn't find a 0-0 exact on FanDuel, but we did find each team individually to score 0 points, which I think was 27-1 for the Raiders and 45-1 for the Browns, which is hilarious. I mean, it's too funny. AG in the chat, interesting comment. Rare teaser on the total being not dumb. Cleveland plus 10, under 42. My only pushback to that would be if you're betting the teasers, you kind of want to bet them in games that have less variance. And I know that the total is 40, the total's 35, 36, 36, but I really do think that there's a wide range of outcomes in this game because we have such a limited sample on Shedeur Sanders. So I don't know about that one, but I'm not
mega really teaser.
Yeah.
Put that number up.
put that in the mega teaser for sure. Before we move on to our next game here, we talked about it 5 minutes ago. I'm actually going to lock in the Packers and Vikings under 41.5 as my single hammer at -115. We already talked about the game, but just want to obviously numbers move in real time and things of that nature. Don't want to end up getting to a play where it's a stale line or anything like that. So going to backtrack just for a second. Single hammer, Packers, Vikings under 41.5, -115 in that game. All right. Next stop is Arizona. Cardinals hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one has seen a pretty heavy shift since the look-ahead market in this game. The Cardinals were favored by 1.5 point on the look-ahead market. It's now Jags -2.5, -122 at FanDuel. 47.5 is the total. Obviously, a number of things playing into the equation here, but mostly the injuries on the Cardinals side of the ball. I'll be honest, guys. Of all the games this week, this has probably been the one up to this point that I've had the smallest amount of interest in, because I have to kind of wait to parse the injury reports for this game. I see, Suuma, you're nodding your head here as well.
Yes, I would have hoped to get a better injury report from the Cardinals because I would have liked getting 3 with them. I think that they can win the line of scrimmage, maybe on both sides, to be honest. And the Jaguars passing defense, they are just bad. And Jacoby Brissett, freshly coming off the completion record against the Niners defense, but I just don't see how the Jaguars defense will defend Trey McBride. Michael Wilson had a great game last week. I really think that Brissett can sling it against this defense. And the Cardinals defense, I think they are sneakily underrated when they are healthy, but they are likely not going to be healthy, which scares me off of that. So would have liked to get the Cardinals at 3 at home, but right now I'm just monitoring the injury report.
Yeah, Trayvon Walker not practicing is obviously a big one for Jacksonville in this game as well. Austin, I've given my piece. I'd love to give better analysis on this game, but Arizona went into last week against San Fran with what I would argue is definitely like a top 3 worst injury report of the entire season. And San Fran ended up winning the game comfortably. We kind of don't have more clarity on that as of now. And until I get that, I can't recommend anything.
Yeah, same boat for me. It's unfortunate because after the Jags, easy fade spot for me with the big win last week, I was definitely eyeing Arizona here, but yeah, need some more clarity. And when you get this many injuries, no, I don't want to. It's hard to. You can't get involved. It's almost hard to price the game.
Yeah.
When you get to this amount. So yeah, nothing sucks for an analysis standpoint, but that's where we sit.
Yep. All right, let's move it along here. We're going to the NFC South where the Saints are coming off a bye week. Tyler Shuck is at quarterback for them, and it's going to be Kirk Cousins at quarterback on the opposite side with Michael Penix Jr. down for the year. Drake London, very unlikely to play in this game as well. And we saw the market steam pretty heavily early in the week towards the New Orleans Saints. They went from underdogs to now 1.5-point favorites at FanDuel. Total is 39.5 in this one. And again, this one for me, I feel the move is justified absolutely in this game, especially considering Kirk Cousins, post Achilles sample, which is very bad, plus Drake London and the amount of value I think he is worth to the Atlanta Falcons offense when you consider that the other receiving weapons there are Darnell Mooney and Kaderil Hodge and David Sills. It's going to be a struggle for them. So I get the move, Austin. I just wonder at this point, I don't know that there's anything else to do at this point, but tough one at this point in the week.
Yeah, I think the move's justified. But yeah, when it's okay to just admit sometimes that hey, this game's priced correctly because the markets are pretty good at what they do for the most part. So yeah, I think when you don't have Drake London's been so great this year, and obviously the rushing attack with Bijan Robinson has been very good as well. Just those 2 players you have to hone in on. You take one away, and now it's just oh, hey, we can stack the box more. And Cousins is not going to be someone who's probably taking deep drops and waiting, trying to hit the deep ball. So yeah, it's I don't I wish it was against. I wish I would have got to this number early in the week. It's unfortunate that it went this route, but the Kirk Cousins offense without Drake London, I don't think is going to be very good going forward. That'll be interesting to watch.
It's one of the rare times, Suuma, where I actually think I like the Saints offense better than the opposing team's offense this week. I mean, you're still not going to get any explosiveness out of Alvin Kamara. He's kind of cooked in the running game and the receiving game as well. But we have a decent sample now of Kirk Cousins, which isn't very good. And now you take away weapons. I just don't get there. It still would be Saints or nothing for me at this price.
Yeah, I agree. Also, Saints quietly have a decent run defense, and that Falcons offense runs through Bijan and Drake London. The Saints defense 10th in rushing DVOA, 8th in EPA, and 11th in success rate, just quietly. So I think they can sell out on the run. If you are able to take away the run, I just don't see how Kirk Cousins does anything without Drake London. So could be an ugly game, but there's nothing to do. But I like the Saints in general.
Yep. I would say if Flupp was on the Thursday show, he'd be locking in this over right now because it's the only 39.5 out there in market. Everything else is 40 or higher, but this isn't the Flupp version of forward progress. So, I'm just relaying where there might be some good prices out there nowadays. All right. Keeping it in the late window. This one is one that I'm much more excited about as a Dallas Cowboys fan. Dallas, off their bye week, looked pretty solid against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. Hard to really read much into that because the Raiders are an inept franchise. The Eagles continue to win. I would say that even to like the average fan, it doesn't look super impressive all the time, but you got to be extremely impressed with the defense that they have right now, as that looks like a very formidable unit. As it stands now, Eagles -3.5 plus 100 is the price on the road at Dallas. Total 47.5. That one is juiced towards the over. We got a couple people, including myself, that want to lock in some hammer plays for this game. But Austin, I'll give you the floor for this one.
Yeah, so it's painful. It's shocking that I'm saying this after a couple weeks ago of what my opinion of this team was, but I am locking in a triple hammer on the Cowboys at 3.5 -122. They're a hard team to price just because I think that their defensive metrics are kind of worthless. Like the injuries back, the trade for Quentin Williams, like they did kind of get after the quarterback a little bit, like when they were really bad. And now you bring in like Quentin Williams and what he can do to that and the stopping the run game. It's just a helpful thing there that I think they're going to be. I don't know if they're going to be like an average unit, but it's going to be significantly improved. And the offense has been pretty good all year long. Like Dak's been good. They're moving the ball. They can run. The issue that I have here is the Eagles offense. They don't throw over the middle of the field when like teams are inviting them to. They're playing a lot of cover 2, cover 4, and like, hey, it's there. And Jalen Hurts is not willing to go for it. I will say, I'll give Jalen Hurts credit, and this is why I think they win a lot of games. He doesn't do a lot of dumb things. Like he limits negative plays, which is honestly how he should play with his skill set. But I just don't think a team. I don't think we've captured the Dallas defense yet, and the offense is good. I think the defense has taken steps up, and I think the Eagles' offense is declining a little bit here. So I would gladly. I don't know if it's gladly is the right word, but triple hammer on the Cowboys at 3.5. I don't think this should be higher than a field goal with the state of the Eagles offense going on the road here with an improved Cowboys defense.
Okay, so Austin finishing off his hammers for this week with Cowboys 3.5 -22 triple hammer, and I'm going to do the same thing and use my double hammer on the Cowboys. And I think, Austin, you hit the nail on the head. I don't think that the Cowboys defense has been upgraded in market enough in this particular game. And especially when you consider the matchup, right? No Lane Johnson for the Eagles, no Cam Jurgens for the Eagles. Suddenly, the Cowboys have a real defensive line, an athletic linebacker in DeMarvion Overshown. The secondary's playing better. You are not going to get burned by big plays from the Eagles now. Everything is kind of underneath. And the Cowboys will play a lot of zone in this game, just like every team has been against Philadelphia this year. And Jalen Hurts he refuses to throw into tight windows nowadays. I think like the book is out, and until they can figure out how to beat that, teams are just going to continue playing them this way. I did possibly consider the under here instead, but I prefer Dallas as the side, and I will join Austin and match him as he matched Suuma earlier. I'll take the Cowboys, Suuma.
Yes, I think you laid it out perfectly for why I still have a slight lean towards the under, despite the move down. Eagles defense is playing at an incredible level right now, and I think they will make it very hard on the Cowboys. And I like the other side as you guys, zone defense, lots of new guys, throw all the early season stats out of the window. This is a different Dallas defense right now. No Lane Johnson. Cam Jurgens has been back at practice, but we still don't know whether he's going to play coming back from a concussion. We will see there. But I think Lane Johnson is a big time loss for the Eagles offense that cannot really move the ball against zone coverage. Run game is not there this season. I'm seeing a game where both offenses will kind of struggle overall, and yeah, I still like the under at 47.5.
All right. So we have a couple opinions here, but ultimately Dallas is the look for myself and Austin. All right. Quick heads up before we move on to the primetime slate. Thanksgiving week next week means a little bit of a schedule shuffle for our content here on Forward Progress. We're still pumping out shows. We're just doing them at different times. So what you're going to want to do is sub to the channel. Make sure you turn on those notifications. But so everyone knows what's going on next week. Tuesday, best bets, 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be G-Stack George hosting with myself and Suuma alongside. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, we are doing our Thanksgiving extravaganza. Now, typically in the past, we did that on Thursday mornings, but I've taken some feedback from people who'd rather do it on Wednesday, be able to get ahead of the line moves. They're traveling on Thanksgiving morning. So we're going to do myself, G-Stack, Austin, and we're going to welcome in some guests from our Forward Progress group to give their favorite prop plays for the day as well. So Tuesday, 5 p.m. best bets. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Thanksgiving games. And then we have our watch-alongs, and we are going to do one on Black Friday. So we got our watch-along with George and Alex, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be Bengals and Ravens. And then we got our Black Friday watch-along as well, going live at 2:45 in the afternoon, myself and George. And, of course, our guest, Jeff Feinberg, Hitman. So that's the slate for next week. Make sure you set notifications, and you'll get them when we go live, presented by FanDuel. Set those reminders. All right. Prime time, Sunday Night Football. We got the Rams and the Bucs. The Bucs were kind of in it against the Bills last week before, I guess, caving later on in that game. Bills end up covering. The Rams, they win a pretty big game against a formidable NFC West foe in the Seattle Seahawks. As it stands now, Rams -6.5, -120 at SoFi Stadium. Total is 49.5. DXPS man in the chat, Austin, says, please talk me out of Bucs +6.5. Can you do that for him?
Yeah, I kind of like the Rams here. Baker's been such a roller coaster. I know he's been banged up. He looked a lot better last week. He was running. That was like, it was like everybody started talking about it, and he had to prove that he could still run. I don't know if he was listening there, but I don't know if I trust the team. They're still banged up. The defense has been a little bit leaky the last few weeks, and the Rams, I'm not overreacting to how they played against the Seahawks last week. And I've seen some people saying that the offense is starting to kind of get figured out, and they're not there. Hasn't quite been the same since the Puka injury and everything. But I think they do enough both on the ground and through the air that is really going to stress Tampa. I don't think McVay is going to be like Tampa. Like, people don't want to run against him. I don't think McVay is going to be that guy. I think he's going to try to be creative and find ways to attack the run game. And then on the flip side, the Bills defense, not great. And I think the Rams defense is much better. I know people talk about the secondary, but I think getting pressure is what the Rams are going to be able to do. They can stop the run as well. I don't love this matchup. It's a big number, but I think I'm back down on Baker, and it was like this heroic. He was making crazy plays all the time, and that was a lot of their success. I think we jumped the gun on the MVP talk a couple weeks ago.
I think I should have warned you. Next time you're going to say bad things about Baker, you have to tell Suuma to plug his ears first, because I don't know. I think he was rattled through that. Suuma, what are your thoughts? I have some thoughts on this game, but I'm curious to hear yours as well.
Yeah, I think that Baker has lost his mojo, to be honest. I mean, yes, he had some injuries, wide receiver, O-line. I think Bucky Irving, they're really missing him. Yes, Sean Tucker had a good game against the Bills run defense, which is probably not the game we want to look at. Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, to me, it does not sound like they're going to be back this week. So it's going to be another game where they really need to create some magic, some big plays down the field. It's going to be hard against the Rams defense. And on the other side, I would not be surprised if the Rams scored well here, to be honest. The Rams are killing the blitz, and Jamal Dean might be out.
Yeah.
So who is going to cover Davante and Puka Nacua? I truly believe this is a game where McVay and Stafford are going to have everything they want through the air against this Bucs defense. And then at the moment, I just cannot trust that Bucs offense to really keep pace. So I also have a lean towards the Rams.
Yeah, so I'm with you guys. I'm surprised at this, that we didn't talk about this game beforehand, or none of us had thoughts, but I agree, and I lean Rams as well. I think one thing about McVay is very good at taking advantage of, posing weaknesses as well. There's like a handful of coaches in the league that are really good at this type of stuff. And the Bucs run defense is really solid, but they're going to have no answers in the air. Like, they're essentially a pass funnel defense, especially if Jamel Dean doesn't play. And we've seen a lot of instances before where McVay just attacks bulls through the air pretty regularly. Another thing about Stafford, he's very good against the blitz, and he can pick up like different blitz concepts and looks as well. He's done that his entire career. But the kicker for me, and Luke Burrow in the chat says, have you seen the injury report and illness list for the Bucs? That's enough for me not to bet Bucs. I would say that's enough for me to probably bet Rams, honestly. You have 15 players on a Wednesday listed on the injury report, basically the flu going around the locker room. That is going to affect your preparation for the week. That could potentially have players affected by game day for the week as well. And nothing happened off that news yesterday. It was just like, it was a piece of information that became available, but didn't get priced in. And I feel like that's incorrect personally. So I'm with you guys, Rams in this one. And I had some thoughts about potentially using them as a hammer, but I like the other place a little bit.
Got a note on Baker. He has 3 interceptions on the year. He has 17 turnover-worthy plays. Like, it's that's going to flip. Like, eventually, he's living and dying on the edge. Little Jameis Light, maybe.
And this is like what I would call an opportunistic defense, in that their EPA is probably higher than it should be as well, because they have been able to generate turnovers this year as well. So we'll see with that one. Monday Night Football, we have 49ers hosting the Panthers. Both teams off of a win last week. Panthers in come from behind fashion against the Falcons. 49ers wire to wire against the Cardinals on the road. This number is a flat 7 right now, with the 49ers favored at home in Santa Clara. Total 49.5, juice slightly towards the under. One of us still has 2 selections to make in terms of hammer picks. So that's you, Suuma. So I'll throw this one over to you.
Yeah, I like the Fighting Eagles, to be honest, +7. But what I like more is the over, and using my triple hammer on the over 49.5. The 49ers defense is really, really bad. I think that the Panthers are going to put together a few nice scoring drives here. I think they will have a lot of opportunities on the ground, through the air, because I don't think there's anyone who can cover Ted McMillan on the Niners defense right now. They are still pretty banged up at front 7. I think the Panthers will run the ball well. And then on the other side, I mean, the Panthers defense, against, especially through the air, I think they are going to give up a lot of big plays. I don't like that they might be without both starting linebackers potentially. Yeah. So, yeah, Niners defense is basically fully healthy right now. Ricky Pearsall, I would expect more from him this week. So they have all their arsenal of weapons. I think the Niners might score at will, but I also like the Panthers offense in this matchup. So give me the over.
Yeah, so Suuma triple hammer on the over in this game. I considered the Panthers, but I similarly am very concerned about the linebacker injuries, because this is a team that you do not want to have linebacker injuries against. Like, you're almost better off losing a corner than a linebacker against the 49ers, because they attack that level so often, and they get people in space against that linebacking group. That is my biggest concern in the game. I still don't trust the 49ers defense. I think the front 7 is quite bad. I do think Carolina, even though 49ers defense has held up in the run game recently, I do think Carolina can run the ball very effectively on them, generate some explosive runs, take some of the pressure off of Bryce Young having to compete against Brock Purdy in the passing game. But the linebacker concerns, Austin, are just a little bit too much for me right now to have like a high level of confidence in the Panthers.
Yeah, that's the handicap that I liked in this one was if I do think the Panthers are going to run the ball, and that just makes everything so much easier for Bryce Young. And like that, it's almost like if I want to bet the Panthers, I need to have confidence. It's weird because a lot of times when you're talking about like analytics, it's like run game doesn't matter as much. But in terms of the quarterbacks who aren't, able to do everything and depict everything that a defense is doing, I think the run game is key here. And I think Bryce Young is one of those. They've had a good run game this year. The Falcons have a smaller defensive front last week. They were able to do things. Bryce Young, obviously, franchise record for the Panthers. So, yeah, I wanted to. I lean a little bit that way, but yeah, I don't. It's like with Shanahan McVay's, when they have a matchup to pick on, kind of similar to what you were talking about in the last game with the Rams, they will just do it over and over and over and over. And I don't. If you're backup linebackers against Kyle Shanahan, sounds disastrous. So I'm good sitting that out for right now.
All right, we're going to end with Thursday night football tonight, which is the Bills and the Texans. Obviously, a lot of movement in this game from a side perspective. Buffalo opened 3.5-point favorites. That was bet up to 6 at points yesterday. Buyback on the Texans. We're now settled at Buffalo minus 5.5 at FanDuel. Total in the game is 44.5. We very rarely have, being a Thursday show, we very rarely have one of our triple hammers actually come from the Thursday night game. But Suuma, there's something that you really like in this game tonight.
Yeah, but it's the double hammer.
Right.
I am taking the under 44.5. I think minus 114 at FanDuel right now. I like this to be a low-scoring affair. The Bills, no Dalton Kincaid. Keenan Coleman has been benched. Curtis Samuel is out. Nicole Hartman is out. These are not special wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, but Kincaid is a big loss. That leaves them with Dawson Knox, Khalil Shakir, Terrell Shavers, and an iteration of Gabe Davis / Joshua Palmer. I do not envision how the Bills consistently move the ball here. The Texans are, to me, right now, the number one defense in the league. They're the best against the pass. Their run defense has gotten significantly better in recent weeks. They're borderline top 5 in like all the rushing metrics right now. I think they will make Buffalo's life extremely hard tonight. And on the other side, Davis Mills had one great half against the Jaguars, second half chasing a lead. I think that their best path is to slow the game down, try to limit possessions, run the ball a lot and well against this soft Bills run defense. I also don't see how Davis Mills has a big game through the air. So I expect this to be a very low scoring affair, and I like under 44.5.
All right, Suuma going under in this game at 44.5. And that's going to round out all of our hammer plays for the week. And of course, if you do want more coverage here on Forward Progress, tonight we got our Thursday night watch along on this game, Houston and Buffalo. It's G-Stack George. It's Alex Moretto. They're going to talk through the game, you give out bets, and they respond to your comments. It is always a good time. That watch along right here on Forward Progress starts tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. If you haven't checked out one of those yet because you're like, Rob's not on. Well, you saw G-Stack fill in for me on the pizza buffet on Sunday. I watched it back. I thought he did a fantastic job filling in for me, and he does a really good job running these live watch-alongs as well. Austin, I hear you may be on tonight as well.
Second quarter, I'll be tuning in. The second quarter, I'll be on with the guys.
Perfect. So Austin joining them tonight as well. Make sure that you end up setting notifications. You get notified as soon as they go live. You get those prop bets right before the game starts. Quickly reviewing our hammer selections for this week so that everyone is very, very clear on where we stand and where we are grading ourselves. For myself, I like the Lions and Giants over 49.5. Took the Cowboys plus 3.5, minus 122. And we flipped out the Atlanta, New Orleans over last second. So just want to tell people Green Bay, Minnesota under 41.5, minus 115 is going to be the official one there. For Suuma, Carolina, San Fran over on Monday Night Football. Buffalo, Houston under for Thursday Night Football. Surprised he didn't pick Sunday Night Football either. He's going primetime games. Green Bay minus 6.5, minus 110. Then Austin, you got a couple matches there with Dallas, Green Bay, and you're going with the Lions minus 10.5, minus 02 as your final selection. That is going to be it from us. Thank you for hanging with us today. If you enjoyed the show, please smash that like button. If you listened in audio form, please rate and review 5 stars. Big thanks to my co-hosts Suuma and Austin, to our producer Barbara for keeping the show running tight. We are back here tonight, Thursday Night Football. I will see you back on the channel Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Pizza buffet. Hit another touchdown bet, I think plus 800 last week when George was giving out my plays. I mean, they're at a 97% ROI this year. Might want to tune in for those on Sunday morning. If you enjoyed the show, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff. Peace out, everyone. Good luck with your bets this week.